reduce inflammation and support immune functions. By making informed food choices, individuals with lupus can empower themselves to take control of their health and complement their medical treatment. As we discuss lupus diet and nutrition today, let's keep this wisdom in the mind and explore the powerful connection between food, health, and well being. Over to Babita ji.
Namaste. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Shaleni, ma'am. I am Babita Budathaki from Lupus, Nepal. And thank you so much, ma'am, for this session. And this is our third Indo Nepal Zoom session. In previous session, the Lupus warrior get many advantages they know about. In previous, we talked about the diet. We talked about drugs and lupus, and many queries have been resolved about the drugs and drugs and lupus queries among the lupus warrior. And today also, I think the lupus warrior from Nepal and India, they will get many benefited from our expert panel, Vineeta ma'am and Shaleni ma'am. And thank you so much for today's session to both of ma'am, and thank you all who are joining in this session.
Over to Shalini ma'am.
Let me introduce Shaleni before that.
Yes, sure ma'am. Yeah.
So I am Dr. Vineeta Shobha. I am head and professor in the Department of Clinical Immunology and Rheumatology at St. John's Medical College Hospital, Bangalore. Shaleni Venkatachalam is a very enthusiastic nutritionist, and she is a project manager in the research department at St. John's in the Department of Clinical Immunology and Rheumatology. Her expertise lies not only in the nutrition, but also in doing excellent research. And she is very happy to learn new things and teach us about nutrition at every step. So over to you, Shalini. Please talk to us about the diet, how it can help patients with lupus, especially with respect to the wholesomeness of the diet and also some measures to combat fatigue.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you, Dita and Bibi, for the section. So good evening, everyone. Happy to see you all lupus warrior together at one forum. So I am really happy to be here today to deliver the information on nutritional guidelines for lupus. And I aim to provide the valuable information and perspectives that can help you to better understand and navigate the diet and lupus. So let's jump into today's topics. So today I'm going to address on vitamin deficiency in lupus, symptoms management, foods to be avoided, prevention of risk factor, and healthy lifestyle habits, and lupus pamphlet, which is prepared by me. So the first and foremost thing I want to inform you here is there is no specific diet for the treatment of lupus exists. So scientific proof of literature review for lupus on dietary management also inadequate. So here I'm going to tell there are general guidelines of healthy living with adequate nutritional foods helps to manage the lupus condition. So first we'll talk about deficiency of nutrients in lupus condition. So vitamin D is the extremely common deficiency in lupus condition due to the less sun exposure. So apart from sun exposure, there are some food which is rich in vitamin D, which is fish, mushroom, egg yolk, nuts and seeds, fortified milk. So these are some of the vitamin D rich foods. Even nowadays, like vitamin D fortified foods also available. So which is like the vitamin D is incorporated in milk, cereals, and vitamin D oils, incorporated oils, and even biscuits. So there are so many products fortified with vitamin D are available. You can always include those food products. So to get better absorption of vitamin D, you have to take calcium-rich foods along with vitamin D. So normally vitamin D helps to improve bone health and act as an immune booster, and it also prevent the osteoporosis. So try to include more food groups, and you can also go for fortified food products which is available in the market to increase the vitamin D intake. And calcium. So to strengthen the bone health, prevent from joint pain, calcium-rich foods are more beneficial. To improve the absorption of calcium, you require vitamin D. So this both calcium and vitamin D helps each other to absorb into the bloodstream. So normally we require, as per RDA guidelines, 82,000 milligram of calcium is required per day. So try to include more green leafy vegetables, sesame seeds, beans, figs, salmons, methi seeds. And also, like, I always suggest my patient to take 1 teaspoon of sesame seeds daily and incorporate it in all the recipes whichever they are preparing. So if you take 1 teaspoon, it has 150 milligram of calcium. So if you incorporate into 5 to 6 recipe, by then you will get the enough calcium intake per day. So I've tried to make some food choices by pairing these two nutrients. So you can make a recipe spinach with mushroom and fish with frying fish with adding more curry leaves and including nuts powder to the milk and making omelette or egg related dishes with green leafy vegetables. You can try more different kind of recipe by pairing up these nutrient rich foods. So you will get, you won't be deficiency and you will get all the nutrients at one go. And there are some common symptoms which I'm going to address. So first thing, hair fall. So by taking zinc and biotin rich food will help to reduce the hair fall, and egg, banana, peanut, peas, chickpea, nuts in animal products like chicken, mutton, milk, cheese. These contain good amount of zinc and biotin. And nowadays you can also find biotin gummies is available. That also you can just take like a chocolate and you can have it. And for skin health, you can take colored fruits and vegetables, whichever is colored, like jamun and like green leafy vegetables, broccoli, and colored yellow colored fruits, green colored fruits, red colored fruits. You can always go for it. Try to take a whole fruit instead of juice, and you can take good fats, omega-3 fatty acids, like all the nuts, sunflower seeds, watermelon seeds, chia seeds. These are very affordable. Instead of almonds, pistachio, you can always go for these kind of seeds, which is very beneficial, which has good amount of omega-3 fatty acids, even flax seeds. And also you have to take adequate water for the skin health. So fatigue and fever management. So for fatigue, the important key is adequate sleep. So try to sleep up to 8 hours in a day and quick nap in between the working hours. Like after lunch, some 10 to 15 minutes relaxations and little movement to your body. Try to walk early in the morning or evening, some mild, medium kind of, some 50 minutes, 20 minutes, even during working hours, some like go for tea, go for lunch, from sitting in one place to go for one place to eat. That kind of little movement to your body will help to reduce fatigue. And take iron rich foods. So this will help your oxygen level in a proper way. So you can include drumstick leaves, sunflower seeds, rajma, bajra, oats. organ meat like liver, spleen, even eggs, daily 1 eggs you can include. When you're taking iron-rich food, try to take with vitamin C. So vitamin C helps for the absorption of iron. So try to take one lemon juice or try to add lemon, squeeze lemon in all green leafy vegetables, whichever you are preparing. So this way you can include iron-rich foods. And when it comes to fever, try to take semi-solid foods like mashed dal, porridge, boiled or blanched egg, and boiled vegetables with mild sesame, khichdi, and include probiotics like curd rice. So this will be a mild food which helps which helps to avoid bloating in your body. So when you are getting fever, your body will work more to repairing the body to recover. So the digestion process should be mild, easy to digest food you can take, and try to include more liquids like soups, citrus juices, herbal tea, and warm water. So your taste bud, it will be bitter taste. So these kind of foods will help. And take proper rest. Normal, uh, instead of like taking 8 hours sleep, try to take 9 hours, and proper rest is more helpful to overcome the fever. And foods to be avoided. So all your knows that processed and preserved food, fried food, refined flour, these and all like giving glow to your body, which is unnecessary. So which helps to help your like if you avoid these things, it helps. It's like you're helping your body to work and with less stress. So don't overload by including these foods in your diet. And these are some of the way to prevent from risk factor like cardiovascular disease and other complication. So reduce the intake of saturated fat, which is bad fat, which comes from the more organ meat, like more meat, which is mutton, and hydrogenated fat, which is mayonnaise. These and all like saturated fat, which will deposit in your arteries, which leads to cardiovascular problem. And increase your physical activity. By doing this, you are burning the stored fat in your body. And weight management, which is very important. For weight management, you can always include probiotics, high fiber, and portion control. These three are key role which helps in weight management. Try to take limited portion and with adequate fiber in it, and more water with probiotics, which helps in good digestion. And quit alcohol and smoke if you are doing it. So lupus with kidney problem. So this I want to address in detail. For now, fluid restriction is a major thing because fluid retention will be there, and reduce protein intake because we can't load kidney to work more, and reduce salt intake, which normally during this kidney problem you have high blood pressure. So to reduce that, you have to reduce the salt intake and reduce fat. So you can cut down non-vegetarian to reduce the fat, and you can say no to pepper, pickles, and packed food to reduce the salt intake. And these are 9 healthy habits you can follow on your daily routine. Walk 9,000 steps in a day and take adequate 8 hours of sleep. Drink at least 6 glass of water, and take 6 minutes to do meditation, some deep breathe in, breathe out, and include 5 fruits or 5 vegetables to your diet. Take 4 rest in between your working hours, like small break. and include 3 meals and 3 snacks in your diet. And if you avoid 2 hours of phone before sleeping, it helps for better sleeping. And it will be your daily routine also. And one section of exercise, like 20 to 15 minutes on a daily basis. Try to do same time and same like either early morning or in the evening. Try to take in the same time and same interval. Slowly you can increase the timing of exercise. This will help to reduce like weight even for healthy living. And this is the pamphlet which I prepared for lupus patients. So I will be sharing you this PPT, this pamphlet. If you share your email ID, I will share you these 2 pamphlets. These 2 pamphlets has all the information which I spoke today. So I would like to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude. First and foremost, thank you so much, Vineeta ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. Your support and guidance take me here, and I'm truly grateful for that. And I also wanted my extend my appreciation to Mudita for organizing everything so well, even this baby. And your effort for lupus awareness is incredible, and your dedication is deeply appreciated. Once again, thank you.
Thank you, Shalini ma'am. And now, all the lupus warrior, you are open for your question. You can raise your hand. Vineeta ma'am and Shalini is there to answer all your questions, whatever in your mind related to diet and or other stuff. Just raise your hand. Meanwhile, Babita ji, if you want to start with, you can start. You have many questions in your mind, na? You can start.
I'm waiting for the other lupus warrior.
Meanwhile, you can start.
प्रश्न छ भने सोध्न सक्नुहुन्छ माइक अन हुन्छ तपाईहरुको प्रश्न केही छ ल्युपस आफ्नो डाइटको बारेमा ल्युपसको
Meanwhile, you can start.
Okay,
Other
I'll
people,
start.
maybe they will be feeling shy or something.
Yeah. And this is for Vineeta ma'am. Ma'am, is there any specific diet that will trigger lupus or that will flare up the lupus? Any specific diet?
So this is a very nice question. Thank you for asking this, Babita. There is no specific diet which can trigger lupus. So we all know that the triggers of lupus are sun exposure. So that is something which we have to avoid. And if we are going out, we have to go fully sun protected with a photoprotective umbrella and wearing sunscreen. And the smoking is another known trigger which can cause to some extent a bit of a flare. Then we're supposed to avoid oral contraceptives. They contain estrogen and that can also cause trigger flare. There are some medications also which can cause flare, but amongst the diet products, I am not aware of any specific diet which can cause a flare. So with respect to the arthritis in SLE, a lot of people believe that there are some food items which are inflammatory for them, which make them have more joint pains. And some people think that this is the reason for their disease, which is not entirely true. But what we request the patients to do is that if they identify that XYZ is the trigger for my arthritis, then they avoid taking that food item and see whether it really causes a flare. So, for example, there is a patient who might say that when I eat potatoes or anything which is in the soil causes more joint pains. So then what we ask them to do is to just avoid eating food which they themselves have identified as a food item which is causing pain. But as per our knowledge, there is no particular diet which you eat and it will lead to flare in all patients and at all times. So that is not well established. So from my perspective, I feel that uh, patients can take just the normal diet with more of fluids, water, colored fruits, as Shalini pointed out, and green leafy vegetables. I think that's the key forwards, and include a bit of nuts in the diet. Shalini, do you want to add anything here?
No, ma'am. As you all said, there is no particular food which cause this one, because as it is an autoimmune disease, there is no particular food. But if any person themselves finding it, then they have to completely avoid is better. Because some patient, even if they know that particular food is causing, but still they are trying to take as a like as in their daily routine, that has to be stopped, I feel.
Yes, I totally agree, because our body itself tells what we can easily assimilate in our body. So we have to listen. That also, I think. There is
Yeah.
one question in the chat box by Pratibha. Whenever I take curd, I have joint pain. Does curd affect lupus? I always suffer from diarrhea, and also sometimes taking probiotic cause my body ache.
Yeah, curd is like, even it's not even a lactose, so they can take. But if they are feeling that curd is causing joint pain, then they can completely avoid. They can try to take in normal temperature, try to take once, and even they can try to take as a buttermilk. Even if they are finding that also causing joint pain, in that case they can avoid, because curd be required on daily basis as a probiotic. So they can try to take normal temperature, try once, and try as a buttermilk once. So even in that time also they feel like it is causing joint pain, and they can avoid those foods. And
So
even one more question.
I want to mention here that in the Ayurveda and the olden ages, it was believed that there is a strong connection between the gut and the immune system. And our science understands it to a little extent, but not to in its entirety. So we do need the probiotic for our bowel health, for our intestines to have good health. So if, as Shalini pointed out, we can take dilute curd, we can take it as buttermilk, and try to keep it in our diet, because probiotic is very important for our intestinal health. Um, Maybe one could do uh, taking, if you're taking some flavored yogurt, flavored curd, then you can stop taking that flavored curd and make it at home and see if that works better for you. Next question, please.
So there is one more question in the chat box, ma'am. Can we have more protein? So I don't know what it means more protein, but each person can take according to their body weight. So if the person is 60 kg, 60 gram of protein is adequate for their daily intake. So they can go up to that, not more than that. And if they have kidney problem, then that also cut down to half. So if it is 60 gram, it should be below 30 gram. Like that they can take.
So that is applicable only for people with a kidney failure. So what happens in lupus nephritis is that there is a protein leakage in the urine. So we actually do not advise them to restrict protein, because if the proteins become less in the body, then they become more bloated up. There will be swelling on the face. There might be swelling in their feet, and so we basically tell them to take 0.8 to 1 gram per kilogram body weight of proteins, which is the usual required. And in case they have kidney failure, then I think it is better that they take an advice from their local nutritionist, because it will depend on their levels of sodium, potassium, other electrolytes in the body. So what Shalini is talking about is for people whose kidney functions are normal. Am I right, Shalini?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that is very important. If the kidney parameters are abnormal, we don't want you to go with our recommendation. We want you to meet your doctor and the nutritionist who's associated with that team of doctors, so that we understand what is your degree of kidney damage and accordingly take guidance. So our discussion today is pertaining to people who are having a stable lupus or even newly diagnosed but no major kidney issues.
And there is one question, ma'am. Is it beneficial to avoid gluten for lupus?
So there is a condition called gluten intolerance, where they'll get, if they take gluten foods like chapati or bread, they will ended up in bloating or diarrhea like that. Only in that case, the person supposed to avoid gluten. Apart from that, they can take. There is no interaction for lupus.
There is one
Uh,
more
and
question
in-
in the chat box. Oh, you want to ask? You can continue.
And I think in many lupus warrior they have a problem of hypothyroidism too. And what do you suggest for lupus with hypothyroidism? Should they avoid gluten or not?
Okay, so for hypothyroid, you can avoid cruciferous vegetables and lactose. So gluten also, if they feel like they are causing some issue, in that case, even gluten also can be avoided. So the main hypothyroidism we have to concentrate is to avoid cruciferous vegetable like cauliflower, this and for hypothyroid, you have to avoid lactose, which is milk and milk products also you have to avoid.
Okay. And another question is there from Preksha. Is there any benefit of being a vegan for lupus patient? As many lupus patients, they feel that many they are telling that after avoiding meat products, they feel better. Is there any truth that being vegan is it helpful for them?
No, always like if you go with pure vegetarian, it is good. You feel your body will be light and more healthy because like we are not loading, we are not stressing the body. The only thing is make sure you are taking vitamin B12 supplements and concentrate like you are taking adequate protein. You can go for it. There is no like harm or this one. Like if you want to be a vegan or if you want to be a pure veg, you can always go for it. It is good for health.
So what happens is when we are vegetarian, the meat products are having more complex kind of structures in the composition. So by being vegetarian, we are able to have a better digestion in general. Also, vegetables are the ones which have good amount of fiber. So that fiber is needed for good bowel movement. So it will avoid constipation. So some of these medicines which are prescribed to lupus warriors, they tend to upset the stomach a little bit, like some may cause acidity or some may cause constipation. So by being vegetarian or by being vegan, the bulk of the stools which is passed increases, and that makes it more comfortable on people's intestine. So being a vegetarian is always good, but make sure that you take adequate amount of nuts in the food so that the protein requirement for the body is met. So what happens is if we don't take adequate proteins in our body, if we don't eat enough amount of protein, the body's existing proteins will start getting broken down. So we don't want that, right? So that is why it is very important to have adequate amount of protein. And we tend to sometimes advise to take egg and non-vegetarian food just to ease the requirement for proteins. So, but there are several vegetarian proteins like whey protein, and I'm sure Shalini can tell you more about the vegetarian proteins which come as supplements as well.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And there is one question from Sukriti Zay. What type of food or drinks we take during severe pain in different parts of our body? If we have a severe pain, what type of food we should take?
For pain, there is no specific food per se. And as Shalini has said, that we can take semi-solid or overcooked food for easy digestion during those periods. But and also when there is an inflammation means there is more of protein breakdown can happen during that time. So one can have a higher amount of protein at that time. Drink plenty of water. And apart from the diet at that time, it is very important to keep your joints active. Unless there is some complication which is for which the doctors have told you to take rest. Otherwise, it is best to stay active. One can use for relieving the joint pains hot packs or cold packs, which can help to relieve pain. And most of the times, the in arthritis in lupus warriors, it causes stiffness because of being on over rest. So avoid resting the joint. Keep it active and the pain will go away.
And there is one question. It is not related to diet. It's from Birendra Bista. Monthly 3 times I get cold and cough, and it's taking more time to recover. Is it related to lupus?
So possibly not. I do not know how old Birender is. I think his hand was raised. He wanted to ask the question himself. But cough and cold, if it is happening more than 5 times in a year, then it is abnormal. So 3 times in a month is definitely abnormal. So I would suggest the person to go to a local ENT physician and see if there is any polyp or anything wrong in the nose, if there is any turbinate hypertrophy, if there is any sinus infection, if the tonsils are enlarged. So, all of those can cause recurrent infections, the upper respiratory tract infections. And this particular person, Mr. Birender, can take warm saline gargles, especially with little amount of salt, or they can add chlorhexidine or betadine in their gargles. So if there is some persistent infection that can be taken care of, they can take some steam inhalation so that sinuses get decongested. But if a person is having 3 times upper respiratory tract infection in a month, it is time to visit your doctor and get yourself examined by the ENT doctor to see if there is anything wrong in the sinuses around the nose. I hope this is helpful to Birender.
And there is another question, ma'am. It's not related to diet too. Does limited cutaneous systemic sclerosis and lupus are different?
Yes, these are two entirely different diseases, even though these are both autoimmune diseases. In lupus, we have photosensitivity and we have a different kind of rash. Whereas in systemic sclerosis, there is a skin tightening. The skin becomes sclerosed. So that causes a tightening of the skin starting from the fingers. And they can also have finger blueness. And sometimes these fingers can also develop pits or even they can become black. So these are two entirely different diseases, but both of them are autoimmune diseases. Patients with limited systemic sclerosis can also develop cardiac involvement, heart issues. They can also have lung issues, and they can also have very painful arthritis. So some of the treatment is same like lupus for systemic sclerosis, but there are many other different advices which we need to give for patients with systemic sclerosis. So I suggest that you go and meet your rheumatologist and take the correct treatment. There is currently good effective treatment for limited systemic sclerosis, just as for lupus.
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. And one other one, I think it's already involved. Can we eat red meat?
Shalini?
Red meat, like If you want, you can eat, but the portion size should be less, and the frequency should be monthly once or twice is advisable, because it has more cholesterol, which is saturated fat. So you can reduce the quantity, and you can take in limited portion and frequency.
And one more question is there: why milk and milk products are avoided in hypothyroidism? I
Okay.
think
So usually hypothyroid have more sensitive to many food products. So the lactose and casein enzymes which contain in the milk, they are more sensitive to that. So it will lead inflammation and hormone fluctuation and bowel bloating. Because of that symptoms and because of that signs, milk and milk products are to be avoided.
So in such patients, if you are advising to avoid milk and milk products, from where will they get their calcium?
So they can go for sesame seed, green leafy vegetables, fish. In that they can take the enough calcium.
So I also didn't know that hypothyroidism, we have to avoid milk and milk products. That's a nice advice, Shalini.
And one question is here. She has a bowel inconsistency. How to handle it?
Okay, so it basically they might have gut problem, so they can take probiotic and they have to eat clean food. They supposed to avoid all the junk food, processed food, and more salt, more sugar. These things they have to avoid for some 15 days. They have to cleanse the body, and they can take probiotic like buttermilk, and for good digestion they can take each meal at the once they eat the completed meal, they can take herbal tea like jeera water or ajwain water or cinnamon water for better digestion. Ginger tea, like that, they can add any spices to the hot water and they can have it, so that the uh, bowel cleanse, and there will be a proper digestion will happen.
This is an excellent advice, Shalini. Actually, in southern India, in Kerala and all, if they have biryani, then it is always followed by jeera water. It's like a routine. So after any heavy meal, if one drinks warm water with these kind of spices which she mentioned, then that is always helpful. It helps to lighten the stomach. You don't feel like heavy after eating uh, something like, let's say, complicated food like biryani or some uh, some of the sweets which are fried and all of those stuff. So if you take this kind of cleansing water, you can call it, then that is usually very helpful.
So it's a jeera water will be helpful, na ma'am?
Yes.
After
Shalini, two more things you told,
taking.
no? I know only about jeera water. Cinnamon water,
Cinnamon,
Ajwain,
ginger.
ginger water.
ginger water, soft also, I think.
Yeah, so in North, I think people tend to use more of soft.
Yeah.
In South India, they use a lot of jeera water. So
Yeah.
after every biryani, they will bring warm water. Like once you have finished your meal, warm water with boiled with little bit of jeera.
And there is one question about lupus nephritis food. As ma'am, there are many lupus nephritis patients. Is there any specific food for lupus nephritis, or what in regards to like water restriction, salt restriction? Is there any specific for lupus nephritis? And here one patient had told, can we take egg? Is it helpful for vegan for lupus nephritis? This
So,
type of question.
so I think for the kidney disease, it depends on the severity of the kidney disease to make a recommendation. it is not possible to make a, kind of a standard recommendation for patients with kidney disease. And similarly for salt. So sometimes lupus warriors with kidney disease might be given medications which can cause low salt level already in the body. On top of that, if you advise more low salt, then it will lead to low sodium. And then they will start feeling more fatigue and all of that stuff. So I think for these complicated issues, it is best that the lupus warrior with kidney disease talks to their local doctor who's aware of the severity of the disease and how much is the protein loss in their urine, what is the current status of their body protein. So, general recommendations wouldn't work for a patient with kidney disease. So, these kind of webinars are usually helpful in general, but for a specific patient, I don't think it is right for us to make recommendations in on this kind of platform without understanding the severity of their illness. So apologies for that. But if you have any specific questions, we will ask Mudita to share Shalini's number or my number, and they can send us their records. The lupus warrior with kidney disease can send us their records. We will scrutinize the records and accordingly advise. Is that okay, Shalini?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. So
I
kind
will
of you.
share my email. They can send, I can forward you, or if you say I can share the number also, WhatsApp number.
And ma'am, one question from myself, and many lupus warrior, they are taking some supplements like omega-3 supplements, omega-3 capsules in the name of fish oil. Is it right of taking that capsules, or there is what is your opinion in that?
Shalini, you want to take that?
Yes, ma'am. So, as I said earlier, omega-3 fatty it's very good for health. So, if you can't take through food, always you can go for supplements, which is very good. There is nothing harm in that. Any supplements, even vitamin D, calcium, whatever the supplements, whatever the nutrients we require, if you are not able to meet through food, we can go for the supplements, tablets.
And ma'am, what is the level of vitamin D that is required for lupus patient? Is there any marking?
So there is no like specific disease condition recommendation. According to RDA recommendation, 600 to 1800 IU per person they have to take. And as vitamin D is a fat soluble, if you take along with, if your body has enough fat, it will store up to 1 week. So vitamin D and all, no need to take on daily basis. Weekly one tablet or one shot of kind of syrup and all now it's coming up. That also is enough.
Regarding the omega fatty acids, so omega fatty acids are said to be antioxidants. And so that in that way, they are very helpful in patients with lupus, especially to maintain the good condition of their skin, the hair, and even the muscle strength. So muscle strength we get mainly from by doing exercises, but all of these antioxidants are generally good. But if you say that is it mandatory, they're not mandatory, but they're optional. So if those people who prefer to take it can take it, there is absolutely no harm. But it is not like a we have to prescribe them. They're not prescription medications. These are supplements, and many people find them to improve their what do you say, fatigue levels, their energy levels. Those are better when when people are taking supplements. So it is up to an individual to go for supplements or not to go for supplements. If you see, the diet is actually sufficient for our wholesome body needs. So one shouldn't ideally be needing any supplements, but if one wants to go for it, then there is no harm, and it might actually be helpful, but it is not mandatory at the same breath.
And
Reksha wants to ask some question.
Sure.
Preksha, you can ask your question.
Am I audible? So, namaste everyone. My question is, I have low hemoglobin, but my iron profile and everything are fine. It's coming good, right? But I try to include beetroot, so many iron rich food, but my hemoglobin is not increasing. So, there any food combination which helps to increase the iron in the body?
So, Preksha, as you already said that the iron levels in your body are good. So then additional iron is not going to help you. So sometimes there might be other vitamin deficiencies such as folic acid, such as vitamin B12. So you can ask your doctors to check for that and they can give you supplements accordingly. Sometimes SLE itself can cause anemia in a condition what we call as hemolytic anemia, where the RBCs are formed but they get broken down because of SLE per se. So if your iron levels are already low, I would request you not to overburden your body with more iron. Instead of that, get vitamin levels checked like folate and vitamin B12 and ask your doctors to check you for hemolytic anemia. So that might be the way forwards for you. Which city are you in, Preksha?
Kathmandu.
Kathmandu. Okay, then your doctor should be able to help you over there.
And I have thalassemia also.
So thalassemia itself can cause anemia, no? And in thalassemia, what happens is because there is requirement for blood transfusion again and again, so the iron levels will be already high. And it is not that high iron levels are good for body. If the iron levels are very high in the body, they will get deposited in liver, spleen, and they can also cause more bone pains and all of that stuff. So don't overdo iron, especially in the context of thalassemia. Good that you told us that you have thalassemia as well.
Thank you.
Yes, Krishna, you can also unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Actually, the problem is my sister. She is suffering from the arthritis since 2013. And firstly, in 2013, AIMS Hospital India diagnosed the ANA was 176. DSDNA was positive, and they declared that the evolving the lupus. And then we went here in Nepal, and NCRD check again the centromere that was positive, deacid DNA that was negative, and ANA by IFA that was value of 1:160. And so they diagnosed with SSC overlap. And then again, we received the report, and recently our lab test ANA by IFA, the results show the positive nuclear pattern in titer up to 1:320, AC 3 centromere, and the ENA panel shows the CNP positive with 3 positive value, having index 5.62. Does all these report means my sister have not lupus symptom yet now, or does this report belong to the limited cutaneous systemic sclerosis? What will be? I want to ask this question.
Sure, Mr. Krishna. Mm, the thing is that we cannot make a diagnosis of an autoimmune disease based on the ANA report or even
Yes.
the ANA blot report. It has to be always interpreted with the with the clinical symptoms. So,
Yes.
I want to tell you that ANA can be positive in as many as 10 to 20% of normal people also. So, supposing I go to check my own ANA, it might be positive. So, but that doesn't mean that I have an autoimmune disease, or if I go to check for my sister or brother or something like that. So, it is, we should not go by the ANA report and start fearing the ANA report. We need to meet your doctor, whichever city you are in, go to your rheumatologist, and they will be able to help you out with the diagnosis.
Okay. Actually, at previous time, it was diagnosed with the lupus, and the medicine was going on such a manner. Additionally, blood samples indicate that, and the doctor tell there is no lupus symptom yet now. It is systematic sclerosis. Then we go through this manner as well. Doctor told me that. That's why I'm asking.
This is what happens. So sometimes the autoantibodies can change with time, and some people can also have part features of lupus and part features of systemic sclerosis. Therefore, it is very important to stay with your doctor and they will guide you best. So these kind of specific, complicated issues, it is not possible for us to solve in this kind of session. So apologies for that.
Okay, thank you.
Indraji?
And there is another question.
No.
How can we modify our diet to maintain a healthy weight? As lupus patients are on steroid, it is hard to maintain weight.
Shaleni?
So as I said earlier, to maintain weight, there are 4 key rules. So high protein, adequate intake of water up to 2 to 3 liters based on their weight, and increase like probiotic, which like helps in gut cleansing, and regular physical activity. So, and even reduce carb, like the quantity of carb should be like under control. Portion control is mainly for carbs, and increase the fruits and vegetables to increase the fiber intake. So these things will help to reduce the weight. And they also mentioned, ma'am, like for lupus, there will be like very difficult to maintain weight. In that part, I'm not sure.
So I think weight control is very important. So what happens is, unfortunately, some of the medications which we have to prescribe to lupus warriors, for example, steroids, they tend to make people put on weight. So what my advice to them usually is they put on weight because of two reasons. One, there is more appetite. So they feel more hungry. And when they become more hungry, they tend to eat a lot of junk food or, food which is fatty. So what my suggestion at those points in time is that there is nothing we can do at that point in time to reduce the steroid dose. If it is required, it is required for our body's health. So when there is an increase in appetite, instead of taking food which is fattening or which is junk, we can replace it with salads. So one, instead of having, if I'm hungry, instead of eating biscuits, I can probably go for cucumber. I can go for some tomato. We can go for some raw vegetable salad rather than taking food which is going to fatten us. So this is one way of, avoiding gaining weight. Then the second thing what they can do is they can have less sweet food. So supposing going to have tea. So instead of having it with white sugar, we can take it with jaggery. Jaggery also contains iron. So instead of putting white sugar in the tea, one can put jaggery. Or one can go for even bland tea without sugar. So these are small, small tips and measures which people can themselves look at it and think about it and avoid having more sugary food. So this appetite which happens with steroids is something which is unbearable for many patients. And so we can take foods which is non-fattening. And I find that to help to not gain a lot of food. So if the amount of weight which we have gained is less, it is easier to lose. But if we have gained a lot of weight during the initial treatment of with glucocorticoids, then that is extremely difficult to lose. The other thing is about that the weight gain happens on the upper part of the back and on the stomach. So continue to exercise, even if whenever there is no fatigue, whenever there is an opportunity, continue to exercise. So that helps us to maintain the weight more efficiently instead of just focusing on diet.
Yes, Virendraji, you can ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, all. Yeah, my name is Virendra. I'm basically from Nepal. So I'm staying in Bangalore right now. So I have like diagnosed lupus at 2023 November. So in Delhi. So I'm couldn't able to diagnose in Bangalore. So after that I went to my native place to Nepal. So from there I got a very seriousness. After that I went to the Delhi. So Delhi Manipal Hospital I got diagnosed as in lupus nephritis. So stage 3. Actually, I have a lot of issue in my body, like no, the below knee, the nerves are paining, like anything, legs are like a burning sensation is there. So for that, I'm taking the tablet of the Pregabit NT. So doctor have suggested me to give the Pregabit NT. And most of the time I'm facing a problem with the cough, then noisy and a tiredness and like a burning eyes and a cough most of the time. So I'm taking a lot of medicines from here, cough syrup and all. So but it's not getting controlled. So from 22 days I'm facing same issue. The cough is not releasing. So is that a problem of the lupus or anything else? So I'm unable to found out.
So where are you sit? Which
And
city are you in, Birinder?
in Bangalore, ma'am.
Okay, so we are in Bangalore ourselves.
Yeah,
You can probably visit us once in St. John's Medical College Hospital, and we will
that
take a
Kormangla,
look
right?
and
Kormangla,
Koramangala.
right, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So every Tuesday we have a lupus clinic running, and Mondays we have general OPD. So if you are
Okay,
feeling these burning sensation in the legs, we need to identify if that is related to lupus or is it because of something else. It looks like you
okay.
are on the right treatment. The pregabalin is a good treatment, so your doctor is doing already very good. If you are very
Yes,
far
ma'am.
away from Koramangala, you can tell me which area you are in, and I can
Uh,
guide you to the appropriate doctor.
it's not far, ma'am. Just to 15 kilometer. I can travel over there.
Sure, sure. Then we
So
can see you
I'm
on Monday.
yeah, yeah. I'm staying in the Kamanalli. So it's nearby only. It's not much.
Okay, sure,
Not
sure.
much.
We can
Yeah.
look after you.
When, ma'am, can I come Tuesday or Monday?
You can come on Monday. You can come on
Monday.
Monday to the Silver
So
Jubilee block and
yeah. So
register
that
for
address I know.
Mm.
ST Jones Hospital, right? So I know address.
Okay, all right.
Sure, sure. I'll visit over there now.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, Babita? Mudita?
I think there is. It's not related to diet, but yeah, Virendra missed a question. It's, I think it is.
No,
It
no. It's fine.
one day.
I'll visit over there. Yeah. I'll
Okay.
visit over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Virendra.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Anyone else who want to ask a question regarding to diet or any other question?
Ma'am, one question from me is I've heard that sprout of the moong dal sprout means that moong bean sprout. Is it harmful for lupus?
No. Actually, sprouted like pulses are very good for health. It is very easy to digest and the nutrition value also more. You can always take instead of dal, which some person it might cause gastric. For them, we usually suggest to go for sprouts, which is easily digestible form, which has like increased nutritional value. You can always go for sprouts to increase your protein level.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. In one book, I have they said it's avoid alfalfa alfalfa sprout and moong bean sprout, and it will increase the lupus activity.
No. There is no studies like
There is
saying
no study.
harmful
Okay.
to lupus. Any food.
Okay. And what about calories, ma'am? Calories, is there uh, any evidence that calories will increase the lupus activity?
No, there is no such thing for calorie restriction. But for maintaining good weight, you should go with your ideal body weight of calorie measurement. So if you are in the age of adult, like 25 to 35, you can take up to 1300 to 400 calories for a daily requirement. And that too, it is based on your height and weight. But this is the normal range of calorie you can go for it. Only through homemade food you can meet this one. So if you take one burger at one meal, you will reach almost 70% of your daily requirement. That's why we are telling to avoid the junk food to reduce the calorie.
Okay. Then it's a Krishna question also addressed. He asked, junk food once in a while is it okay?
It is good to splurge once in a while. So I don't think we should, there should be cheat days, I feel. Only then we can be happy. So we can't, like disease or no disease, uh, we can't be in our mind too stuck on anything. So if one feels like having a burger once in a month, there's nothing wrong with it. One needs to be happy as well.
Yeah, ma'am.
I think we are reaching the end of our session.
Yeah, ma'am. I think all the questions were addressed.
Yes.
I would also like to share one thing which I used to follow. Like I took 3.5 year steroid, but my weight doesn't increase. Actually, what I follow, I eat very light in the evening. If I want to eat pakora or some puris, I like to eat in the breakfast. So in whole day I have some activities or something. In after 5 o'clock, I start eating less, even the water or food, anything very light or something. If I feel hungry, I take fruits or some sprouts like that, some soup bowl like that. I used to go. So my weight doesn't increase, though I took steroid for 3.5 years.
That's an excellent tip,
Ah,
Mudita.
yeah.
And actually, I think we should collate the such kind of tips from
Ah,
people who have experienced these
yeah.
issues rather than
Ah,
people like me and Shalini talking to you about
ah.
something which we just learn from textbooks rather than from personal experience.
Experience. Yes, ma'am. Like I personally thought ki, like how I can reduce weight. Then I just personally applied this thing. Ki I must eat less because activity is low in the evening and we sleep at night. So it's better to eat whatever you feel like eating, eat in the breakfast. All the heavy and all those things.
So portion control is one very important thing. I keep telling
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
patients, if you're having 2
Overeating.
chapatis,
Hmm.
instead of that, if you want to lose weight, come down to 1.5
Yeah, yeah.
chapatis. Once you're happy with 1.5 chapatis, then make it 1 chapati.
Mm.
And don't target a lot of weight loss in 1 month. So
Yes.
if your body weight is, let us say, 70 kg and you want to come down to 60 kg, target just 1 kg a month or maybe 1.5 kg a month. So this keeps us in balance, it doesn't really stress our body. So don't give yourself too hectic targets which we cannot achieve. And once we cannot achieve the target, we become unhappy, right? So let's not do that. Let's just go slow on it. It is we can beat the disease, but for that our mental strength is very important. So if he's stressing too much about diet or about weight or about so many things, so then it is quite challenging. So my suggestion is that we keep with a healthy diet, as Shalini has pointed out, that it should have an adequate mix of certain ingredients, including color foods. So then we are on a good track.
Yeah, I think it's end of the session now. And at last, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
People are
much,
little shy.
Vinita
They
ma'am.
didn't
Thank you
ask
so
much
much, Shalini
questions.
ma'am, and Shalini ma'am for excellent presentation about the diet and lupus. And thank you so much, Vinita ma'am, for answering all the queries of lupus warrior related to diet and also about the lupus. I hope all the lupus warrior get benefited from this session, today's session. And I also thank, and and till first to last, there is 28 lupus warrior, 27 to 28 lupus warrior, and they are from first to last. Nobody has left in between. And thanks to all the lupus warrior for joining this session, and all others who are listening in the I think YouTube live also. And thanks to all.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
Shalini.
Be healthy, be happy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Namaste,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shalini ji.
And
we can plan one more session specifically
Sure.
for the kidney disease like that, na? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
क्या करो हाँ खत्म हो गया मैं जाके लास्ट में जाके मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछा खत्म हो गया था मेरा ऐसे ही होता है हिम्मत नहीं होता, पूछा कितना बार तो लगता है पूछूं नहीं पूछूं
Yes, Babita ji, now we can end.
Yeah.
Okay.